It's always strange, isn't it, when somebody suddenly pops up on your little screen and you think, hang on a minute, I wasn't expecting him. Hello, I'm Richard Vobes, and I'm live on the Vobes Show, an impromptu Tuesday Vobes Show on the 17th of March 2020. Basically, one thing, I was bored. Secondly, I was, a bit rough yesterday, and I wanted to let everybody know that I'm okay. Because a few people very kindly have been in touch and said, hey, Richard, are you all right today? Did you die? Did you fall apart? Did your head split up? Did your arms fall off? Did your nose wiggle out? No, none of those things happened. I am actually alive and well, and I'm still kicking, which is the most important thing. And I also wanted to make sure that all my friends were okay. And if anybody has contracted the COVID-19. By the way, I should point out, I got onto COVID-20 now, and actually when you get to COVID-25, you get a sticker. COVID-30, you get a badge, and when you get to COVID-50, you get one of those books, and you can collect the little cards. You know, like the you used to get in the smokers boxes. You could get little cards and you stick them in. It's great. You get all the different COVID things. They're little sort of balls with crowns on them. Very nice little pictures of all sorts of different COVIDs. In fact, I've started to give my COVIDs little names. First, I was just going to give them COVID Brian, COVID Eric, COVID Jane, that sort of thing. But I'm going to give them much more complicated names because, they've become my friends now. And why not? Anyway, welcome along. Let's find out if anybody's actually sort of noticed that I'm live and popped along. We've got Mark Selwood, Audrey Forbes, Hamilton. Hello to you. Joe Merchant is there. Julia Hartley is saying, hello. What's going on? Yes, slightly worried. Anne Osborne, hello. Wendy Lowry, hello to you. Andy Stacey, this is a nice surprise. Glad you're well. Yeah, I can't string two words together, but I am sort of well. Veg Grow Podcast, this is a turn up for the books. I just thought, you know what, I was twiddling my thumbs, and I got loads of books to read. Of course, I could sit there, but I didn't actually light the fire in my front room on the other side of that wall. And I thought, I'll have a chat with my mates. That's what I'll do. I'll have a chat with my lovely mates out there, make sure they're still breathing and keep them entertained. Because in this time, there's obviously a lot of worry and a lot of concern and people are a bit confused. And I'm not going to dwell on any of that. By the way, people have sent in some files for me to download from WeTransfer for the show. They will go in tomorrow's show when I'm hoping, fingers crossed, the lovely Julia can make it to the show, which will be fantastic. Tim Williams, he says, Vobe-tastic. Thank you very much. Nice to see you. Cynthia's camera. Hello. Joe Merchant. Everyone well? That's what we want to know. Is everybody well? Have you noticed? I went into Morrison's, which is the supermarket near me earlier this morning. There was a strange old atmosphere. Very strange atmosphere. People were walking around in masks. And it's funny because I mentioned this in The Naked Englishman. There were people walking about in masks, but nobody's wearing, do you remember those masks that you could get of Margaret Thatcher some years ago? You could put those on, or the masquerade masks. Nobody's wearing those sort of masks. It's a shame. I think if you're going to wear a mask, it would be nice that you actually entertain those people around. So we could guess who it is. Is that Donald Trump I can see over there? Is that Boris Johnson? Who is behind that mask? That would make it a bit more fun, don't you think? Anyway, there was a bit of a strange atmosphere. I went in just now, just before the show, to do a quick bit of shopping. Do you know, I've just been very good. I've had a chicken broth with lots of what's that small stuff? Garlic. There we are. That chases away vampires. I've had some garlic and onions and leeks and fresh vegetable. It's funny, all the fresh vegetable and all those sort of things. They had all of that. But Lou Roll's biscuits were very hard to get hold of. I've actually got some Garibaldi biscuits. I had one of these the other night at Mr. Suggett's house after his show. And I thought to myself, do you know, I quite fancy some Garibaldi, not Barry, what is it? Garibaldi, thank you. Garibaldi, well, it kind of works, doesn't it, with me, Garibaldi. You may not have noticed that bit. Dawn Hall says, how about Woo Flu? Woo Flu. Woo Flu. How are you? Hello, Woo Flu. That's a good little name, isn't it? Woo Flu. Hello, Woo Flu. Nice to see you. Andy Stacey says, went to Tesco's earlier for dinner. We ended up having an ink cartridge and a light bulb stew. Well, it's always nice to have a light stew, isn't it? After, if it's too heavy, all that ink just sits on your stomach and it runs. It does give you the run. You'd have to get your nib out and draw a little line. Barbara Charles says, what a nice surprise. Well, we're all full of surprises here. It may be that I don't know. I'm not going to make any formal announcement, but it's possible, ladies and gentlemen, it's possible that I'll do a whole week of shows because people are in lockdown. They're a bit confused. They need a bit of entertainment, don't they? And so I may just pop up from time to time if I get bored. You know what it's like. Mark Silver says there's a lot of suspicion about, are you allowed out? Are you really under 70? All those sort of things. Yeah, that's it. Are you allowed to park here? How much does it cost? Are you sure? Are you sure that this is your permit? All that sort of stuff. Dean Cooper says Bradley sent home with a tickly cough. Teacher says he may have coronavirus by his teacher. They didn't send the teacher home then. Don't say that to a 6-year-old. He doesn't understand. No, this is the problem. Nigel Sadler says I had to go to 2 shops today to get any garlic. Well, I found that Morrison's this morning had loads of garlic in it, so I was very pleased about that. But I didn't actually buy any. I'm of the opinion that fresh fruit and veg will still make it through. You may not be able to get loo roll. Watch out! There's a cough there. Did you see that? Did you see that? Everybody suddenly went back. Did they? Did they just looked at me and went, "Hello, hello"? He coughed. He coughed. Is that a continuous cough? Well, for the duration of the cough, it was continuous, although it was a very short-lived continuous moment of coughing. Or, well, you can hardly say it was coughing because it was a single cough. Joe Merchant says, are we all to stay in? If you are, don't turn on the internet. My ugly mug might turn up. That's the problem. So by me coming out on air like this, it's going to send people absolutely mad, and they'll be out on the streets going, we can't stay in. They'll be writing to their Prime Minister, dear Boris Johnson, can't possibly stay in. Mr. Vobes keeps appearing on our television sets or our smart TVs or on our tablets and whatever. We can't stay in, we can't bear it anymore. And he'll say, well, can't you turn it off? Doesn't matter. It just, we get pinged. Pinged. He's live on air. Pinged. It's drawing our heads in. We can't cope. Robert Baxter says, hello? Wasn't expecting a show tonight. No, this is a mirage. This is a previous recording I did 20 years ago. 20 years ago, just in case there was a coronavirus outbreak. I've recorded all sorts of shows, by the way. There's a show in case the moon falls out of the sky. We've got that one. It's very similar to this, actually. It's like, oh, have you heard? The moon's out of the sky at the moment. There's another one called Who Turned the Sun Out? We've got that one. I've thought of every disaster that you could possibly have. Giant ants. I've thought about, caterpillars that eat old grannies. We've got those. We've got weevils that eat your sisters. But 2 of those are a bit sexist, actually, so probably won't air those ever because that would be quite nasty. We've got the Daleks are real and they're taking over the world. That's one. Recorded that about, I think, 20-something years ago. That one, that's all ready. I do great Dalek impressions. Can't do the Dalek impressions at the moment because obviously I've got a slightly hoarse voice. Nay, lad. Yes, it's true. Mark Selwood says, are local laundrettes totally out of spaghetti? Yes, I'm afraid the laundrettes, you can't wash your spaghetti down at the laundrette anymore. Dave Kitchen says, I'm here. Hello, everybody. Hello, Dave. Nice to see you. And Julia says, neither were we. No, it's a bit of a surprise. I do sometimes like to surprise people, make sure they're on their toes. I mean, the great thing is that you were all ready to tune in to some sporting fixture tonight, weren't you? I don't know, some rugby match or the Grand National or some such thing. And it's all cancelled. It's all cancelled. I suspect that they'll be calling me in when we come to the Olympics. And they cancel the Olympics. They haven't yet cancelled the Olympics, but when they do, they'll no doubt be calling me and say, old Vobie, any chance you could just do a bit? Because there's all these people, they're looking to see all these athletic people doing very crazy things, and we've had to cancel it. Could you come and do something? And you say, yeah, no, more than happy to. Now, the reason I went to Morrison's is because Do you know, I fancied a little bit of hot chocolate. So this isn't any advertising by any means, but there is a company that used to be a family-owned company who've given themselves over to a big multi-American conglomerate. And now I'm lumbered by drinking their stuff. However, won't mention their name. You won't be able to guess who they are. But I'm going to make up some hot chocolate in tonight's show. This is called just a last minute, I'm going to do a show sort of thing. It was a toss-up. I could either read The History of England by G.M. Trevelyan, which I've got, fantastic book, or The Social History of England by G.M. Trevelyan, which is another interesting book, which I'm sort of half reading, or there is A Passage to England by an Indian chap whose name Chowdhury something or other, can't pronounce it. Anyway, I'm not doing any of that. Oh, I have got to take my echinacea tablets. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to do that first, in case I keel over in the forthcoming nature of the show. Do you know, 28 people very kindly have concerned themselves to tune in, which is rather nice. Here I've got some watery champagne, which is rather watery and has no champagne in it whatsoever. Echinacea. Recommend those if you're feeling a bit rough. Very nice. No idea what they do, but, you know, like the placebo effect. It's a bit like the Titanic. It lets the music play when the ship is going down. Nigel says, what about, what? It says, what about a mine is the last voice? Mine is the last voice Baldy Head will ever hear. Yes, that's right. David Chamberlain says, evening, sir. Hello, David. Lovely of you to come along. David's a top man. By the way, David, don't know if you saw the show the other night. Look what we've got in the studio. Because tonight, ladies and gentlemen, just for the sheer hell of it, I'm making some hot chocolate. Now, in this cup here, I have some milk. And over here, I have... Did that work? There we are, look. I have milk, which is going in on the special milk cam. I'm going to put that in there. Oh, this is the life, you know. People tune in to watch a bald bloke with glasses make a hot chocolate. Because the thing is, after I've done this, I'm going to sort out the thumbnail for tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video, by the way, is charming little... sort of nothing, really. It's just Julia and I wasn't feeling terribly well. So Julia and I just did a sort of a very relaxed video, which will be coming to you tomorrow. Larking in Lancing. Something exciting to look forward to. Right, let's see if we can work this special gadget that actually David Chamberlain very kindly purchased for the Vobes One-Eyed Kenobi for a moment such as this. His foresight was brilliant. He thought, do you know, what with COVID-19 coming along, what the Vobes needs is a nice immersion hub. That's what he needs, a nice immersion hub. And that's what I've got. I was after an induction hob, but an immersion hub is the next best thing. So we turn it on. Let's have a look. Power temperature. Turn it down a bit, turn it up a bit. Up a bit, down a bit, round a bit. So whilst that's cooking over there, you can probably hear that cooking. Let's just have a quick gander. There it is. Look at that. Oh, it looks nice, doesn't it? I've been on all the healthy stuff. Tonight, I just fancied I'm going to treat myself. So I've got this new packet of hot chocolate, fresh from the shop, whose name I've mentioned too many times. They don't give me any money for that. And... there's a bit of smoke coming out of that. Did you see that? It's a bit of smoke. I think that's commonly known as steam. Commonly known as steam. So we're going to take I don't know how much of that you use. Probably a couple of those. There we go. How's that doing? I meant to bring in a wooden spoon to smarten it all up. Philip says, good evening. You caught me out. I've caught everybody out tonight. I just thought an impromptu show. Don't know how long I'll do. If my voice gets a bit sore, I only did 45 minutes yesterday. was a bit... So I felt, I'd let you down. I went to bed and I was just thinking, I could have done better. Should have lasted a bit longer. Did 45 minutes and then bowed out. It's like, handing the towel in. So, felt guilty. Mark Selwood says, will you be boiling the milk? Yes, I should be boiling the milk. Now, of course, some people say that you shouldn't boil the milk because when you boil the milk, it's burnt. I don't really adhere to that. I like to capture the milk as it comes up like this. Last minute, grab it before it goes everywhere. So we're going to be watching this very carefully. Audrey Forbes Hamilton says, what's the recipe today, Jim? Goes back to the days of Jimmy Young. Da. How does the Jimmy Young? Bum, bum, bum. I used to have the theme to Jimmy Young, and I used to use the theme tune to Jimmy Young to the old Vobes show years ago. Not doing that tonight, though. Joe Merchant says, will honey and lemon... There's more smoke coming out of this. I think that's just steam. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see the steam? Something's burning. Well, it's not supposed to be doing that. Try that. Apparently, it's all done with magnets, these immersion hubs. It's looking good, though. Let's have another look on the spy camera. There we are. Look at that, eh? Delightful. Do not boil the milk, says Barbara Charles. Why? What? I've always made it with boiled milk. What I don't like is the skin. I don't like the skin forming on the top. Nigel says, no, you did just right last night. Oh, good. I did just right last night. Tonight, it's about boiling one's head. Mark says, I had a sore throat last week and I've had to an enforced stay away from work. Now I'm on my 8th day. You did mention that, actually. Was that yesterday you said that? Or was that last week? So you're at home, are you, Mark? Are you bored out of your head? Dean Cooper says the show must go on, whatever happens. Absolutely right. That is the way that we performers. It's the code, It's the code. Look, we're getting to the boiling stage here. I don't know how much of that you can see. I'm going to just give that a bit of a stir. The thing about an immersion hob, of course, is you should be able to capture it from overflowing at the right minute, even if you just lift it off, So I've just got to be a bit careful. The idea of a little bit of milk and chocolate is to ease the throat. So the lovely... Here it goes. Here we come. Look at that. There we are. Oh. It's bubbling away nicely there. That's the one. There we go. Take that off. Woo. That's lovely. We can turn that off. And now... That was quick, wasn't it? Wasn't that quick? That was at 500 something. I don't know whether that's 500 degrees centigrade or 500 Fahrenheit or what it is. Generally, I avoid sugar. I mean, I know this has got sugar in it. But generally, I avoid sugar when I've got a cold, because that feeds a cold with the sugars, and you should try and avoid sugar if you've got a cold. But I'm at the end now. You can hear I'm better. I have been coughing a bit, but that was just coughing up the phlegm, and I'm probably not infected now. The nose just a little bit bunged up, but that's pretty much gone. Mark says that I'm actually in Hounslow, but keep that between. Don't worry a thing, Mark. I won't mention it. There we go. The hob is off. The noise has stopped. Now, the question is, what goes with the hot chocolate in the evening? Do we have the Garibaldis, or do we really spoil ourselves and have a bit of fruit and nut? That's the question I'm putting to you, because I can't make up my mind, because I quite fancy both of them. I've had a lovely stew as my main dinner. This is pretty much my pudding. Lou Duver says, you don't look too good. Do you have corona? No, I don't have corona, actually. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry that I don't look too good. That you can adjust your monitor and you can get a much better likeness of me if you twiddle the knobs and find a completely different channel. That's usually what works best. It makes me look so much nicer. You can make me younger. You can make me of a different nationality. You can have me with hair. Or you can get one of those apps that, puts the silly glasses on and the little twinkly things and the little ears and the big teeth and the whiskers. You can do all of that, which is great. That way you don't have to look at me. Philip Hallam says, I walked past one of the new housing estates near here in Bognor, all bricks and tarmac, and it's called Mulberry Fields. Yeah, not a mulberry in sight, I dare say. And as you said, all tarmac, not a clod of earth, I bet. They're terrible, absolutely awful. Isn't it a shame? I was hoping to get an interview with a chap from an organisation called LAMBS, Lambs. Can't remember what LAMBS stood for, but I think they were an anti new build place. There's this firm in Sussex, and they've got this brand called something like Mayflower Buildings or something. What, Mayday Buildings, yeah. And they seem to be wanting to build all over the place with this little village, Mayfield Village. I can't remember what it's called. Maybe Julia can remember. Dawn Hall says, chocolate with a chocolate chaser. There you go. Absolutely. That's it. We go for the chocolate. Glad you said that. Chocolate with a chocolate chaser. Now, I'm sorry that you're not here to share this with me. But, of course, what you can do is you can enjoy and luxuriate in me enjoying it. That is, assuming I can actually open up the packet. The problem with that when you watch somebody else luxuriating in anything is that you suddenly want to do it yourself. And I do hope that if you have a corner shop or a big supermarket or anywhere nearby, that they are open and that you can access the same gear that I've got. So my favourite chocolate is, I do like plain chocolate and I like milk chocolate, but I particularly like the fruit and nut. So what is your, have you a panchon? Panchon? What's the word? Panache? No, not. Do you have a what is that word? Panchon for chocolate? And if so, what is your favourite chocolate? Is there a certain brand of chocolate? We can mention brands. I've mentioned that brand. Is there a certain type of brand? Some of the more expensive chocolates, the snooty ones, they're much thinner, aren't they? And much more delicate and a lot more expensive. Are you one of those, like black and green? Or is it green and black? Whichever colour it is. There's black, but hiding the green, which is obviously the mould. There's all sorts of different chocolates. I think there's... can't think of any other ones off the top of my head. Anyway, these are quite nice. So, now, of course, I don't want to talk with my mouth open. I don't want to show my gob. But it's delicious. Mandy of Merrimack says, you're making me mouth water. Cadbury is fab. There was a debate whether they'd changed the formula when, who is it now who make Kraft? Whether the crafty people at Kraft have changed the formula and whether it tastes different. What do you think? What's your favourite chocolate? And if you like Cadbury's, is it still the same since a big American conglomerate? Can't say the word conglomerate. Thank you. Mickey Stevens says Lindt chocolate is delicious. Ah, yes, Lindt. I do like the more cloyy, smooth, that melts in your house. In your house? No, I don't like it melting in the house. Who said that? I like it, the cloyy ones that melts in your mouth. Galaxy, says Judith. Yes, Galaxy is the creme de la creme of cloyy melt in the mouth. They're very nice. Hang on a minute. Generally, I do like chocolate if it's been frozen, very cold. When I used to live in Petworth, which is a town in West Sussex, little town in West Sussex, in my formative years. When I was about, I don't know, 18, I lived there. And obviously we're going back a couple of years now. And when I was 18 and I lived in Petworth, in the market square of this ancient, not medieval, but this, well, it's kind of medieval, this medieval market town. It wasn't then. I'm not saying I was 18 in medieval times. No, don't get confused. When I was 18, there was a chocolate machine. Do you remember those chocolate machines? You know, like, I say, do you remember them? I mean, we have vending machines now, but before vending machines, I mean, I suppose it was a vending machine of some description, but it was a much more primitive sort of design. And this was a Cadbury's chocolate vending machine, and it would have slabs of chocolate. I think there were 4, and you'd have this tiny little drawer that you never really knew if it was ever going to open. When you put your money in, you put like 20 pence in, and you'd pull this thing out. And if you were lucky, at the bottom of this drawer would be this slab of chocolate. Well, I remember it was a joy to go down into the market square and get a slab of this chocolate in the cold winter. And I used to get the slab of the chocolate in the winter, and it would be, cold. And chocolate, of course, is brittle when it's cold. And it was just delicious, crunching your teeth into this cold chocolate. So, very nice. Let's when I went to Morrison's, I also needed some toothpaste. Just in case you were wondering, after eating all this lot, you've got to keep your teeth clean. Because the dentists, unfortunately, you won't be able to go to the dentist, will you? They'll all be dying with COVID-19, bless them. Apparently, actually, instead of fluoride, they're putting in a bit of COVID-19 now into the... it kills all known bacteria and germs dead. Makes your teeth as black as the ace of spades, which is very useful. Added COVID-19. What do we got in here? And I've just gone back, making me drool now. But I can't eat chocolate, says Philip Hammond. Why? Why can't you eat chocolate? Are you diabetic? One of those. I love a bit of Kinder Egg, says Mark Selwood. Eggs. That's another thing that's completely gone. Very early in the morning, all the eggs in Morrison's have gone. Yeah. Michael, salted caramel. Now, there's an interesting thing. Michael Angel suggested that. I don't get that. I do not get adding salt to chocolate. No, that's a big turn-off for me. Cannot bear it. But Galaxy is yum, says the lovely Julia. It is yum. I agree with her there. Jeff Kellison says, Petworth is where you're going ballooning. That's right. Oh, excuse me. Manners. We are going ballooning from Petworth. I guess we're going to have to wait now for this COVID-19 before we can take advantage of it, because you can't really self-isolate in a basket of 10 other people. Unless, of course, it's just you and the pilot. I have to say, that was delicious. Let's have a salted caramel. Yeah, we did that. Robert Baxter says, nothing in the Cadbury factory canteen vending machine except for Cadbury's chocolate and Galaxy at Twix. Yes, I'm not surprised. They're not likely to put a rival company in there. Can you imagine going into a Cadbury thing and there was a rival firm, Rowntree Macintosh. Was it Rowntree Macintosh? It seems to ring a bell, doesn't it? Rowntree's Macintosh. Or was it Apple Macintosh? It's funny, round trees. Trees generally aren't round, are they? You get round things growing on trees. That I can understand. Where is Willy Wonka? Where indeed? I think he's in a book, actually. Possibly a film. David Keel says Cadbury Dairy Milk is more like the original recipe. There is another Cadbury chocolate. If it doesn't say dairy milk, it won't be as nice or as rich, because it's a glass and a half, apparently. What they don't tell you is how big the glass and the half is. Dean Cooper says, Bourneville is my favourite chocolate, dark chocolate. Now, I do like a bit of dark chocolate. I can't eat too much of it, Can you eat a whole bar of dark chocolate in one go, Dean Cooper? Can you manage that? Or is it a sort of nibbly chocolate that you have a nibble and then you put it away? Tim Williams says, my dad says that Fry's 5 boys chocolate bars in vending machines were in railway stations. Yes, Fry's. What was that? Fry's mint. It was Fry's mint chocolate, wasn't it? That was gorgeous. Used to love that. I don't know if you can still buy that, actually. But that was, I do remember that being at the Underground or on the railways. Yeah, no, how interesting. Audrey Forbes Hamilton says, I'm eating a Magnum now. I had a Magnum yesterday. Lovely Magnum. You'll see me, if you watch tomorrow's video, eating a Magnum. Yeah. Just so happens that's one of the incredible, unique features of tomorrow's video that I get up to with the lovely Julia. Mikey Stevens even, says, I always put a chocolate in the freezer before eating because I like the taste much yummier. There you go. Man after my own heart. I love chocolate that's been frozen. I don't mind it like this, where it's sort of room temperature. But given the choice, it's just something more satisfying about crunching into it. I think it must be the... it's almost crystallised, isn't it? It's almost crystallised. Judith says, I like dark chocolate with sea salt. I don't get the salt in chocolate. I mean, I suppose it's a bit like Chinese sweet and sour, isn't it? Bellringer, Francesco Bellringer. He says, do you get recognised in Morrison's? Yes, of course. As I go in, they go, hello, sir. They recognise me as a customer. Mainly because I'm not wearing the uniform. I'm wearing everyday clothes, which they recognise that I am a customer, as opposed to one of them, because they're wearing their green and yellow outfits. Philip says, it's because I have IBS, Richard. IBS. Is that irritating bowel syndrome? IBS. Yes, those irritating bowels. Right, old swine. I do feel for you. Mark says, can you still get that Trucker's chocolate? Oh, do you mean Yorkies? I think they still sell Yorkies, don't they? They did a campaign saying they weren't for women, and then more women bought them. And I think that was the ruse. Philip Hammond says, I went on a balloon trip from Ebano. I received a certificate for being one with the wind. Were you propelling it with the wind? Were you out the back there? Sometimes, if I've eaten the right kind of food, I can propel myself by wind. My own natural wind. People don't really want to know that. They assume that people like me, don't even go to the lavatory. Well, we do. Mark, not Mark. There's no Mark there. There is a Mark there, but it's not that. Robert Baxter. Hello, Robert. He says, I only take the milk in the factory. Don't know the recipe. I only take the milk. Do you know, I was talking of that. Bought some grapes this morning. And on the packet, it said grapes, blah, 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 grapes, 25% free. So I said to the sales assistant, I said, 25% free, look. And he said, yeah. Bargain. Now I said, I'll have the 25% that's free then, please. So I opened up the packet and I grabbed what I thought was 25% of that, because obviously that bit was free. He said, no, that's not how it works. I said, it says on there 25% free. I'm having those 25. I'm not having the others. Not touching those. And I said, actually, to make it easier for me, I'll take 25% from that one, 25% from that one, 25% from that one, and 25% from that one. I won't be greedy. That effectively makes one, if you put all those 25%, that makes 100%. So I'll have it all in one packet. Save me, getting it wrong. I'll just take one of these for free. Surely you could argue that, couldn't you? I mean, makes perfect sense to me. If they're saying you get 25% free, you don't need to buy the other stuff. They didn't seem to be pretty amused by that. Also, there's plenty of those special offers going on. Buy two, put one back. I did that a number of years, actually. Robert Baxter says, I've read his. He says he only takes the milk. I didn't quite understand what you meant by that, but sounds fascinating nonetheless. Fry's Turkish Delight. Yeah, now, I was never a great fan. Second cough. Notice, intermittent coughing, not constant. That was the second cough of the evening. It wasn't a cough. It was just an average cough. Dean Cooper says, I've been up in a balloon twice. It's fantastic. But Richard, I would wear a cap or hat to protect your head from the heat of the burner. You know that you can go up, some of these now, you don't need to use gas. There's electric hot air balloons now that don't use any gas at all. They're just all electric, and therefore they're greener energy. You fill the balloon with grass, so that's nice and green, isn't it? And it floats up all by itself. It's quite amazing. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes. Andy Dalgleish, he says a bit of cocoa in a chili con carne gives a marvellous depth. Oh, that's a good idea. I've never tried that. Mum recalls Fry's five-boy chocolate coming off the ration after the Second World War and being sold in a dispenser at the railway station. I don't know, actually, if I know what Fry's Five Boys chocolate. Is it that they've taken five boys and fried them up? Is this one of these mass murderers who we never quite found? A bit like the Moors murderer, Myra Hindley and that sort of thing. They could take five boys, slice them up, fry them, put them into a dispenser. People at the station, it's dark when they got back from work in the evening. They don't know. Open it up. Tastes like somebody's limbs. But no, it must be chocolate. So I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. What's it? Frapga, which I know is Francisco, but Frapga. He says, do you ever get recognised as the Bald Explorer? Yes, I do. Every time people get onto the YouTube channel, generally I say, hello, I'm Richard Vobes, the Bald Explorer. And they go, yes, I recognise you. You were in that video I saw earlier today. Mike Dixon, good old Mike Dixon, he says, good evening, all. We've been very naughty as we went out for a delicious Chinese meal at Danny's in Hove. I thought all restaurants were closed. There must have been a lot of naughty people in Hove. In our local micro pub was also very busy. Do you know, I don't know what it is, but I think the Sussex people, and this may be true in other counties, the Sussex people, who won't be druv, by the way, whatever that means, they're just blowing caution to the wind. Like that. Could be that side. They're blowing it. When you drive around, it was very busy in the road. If we're all being told to stay at home, no unnecessary this, that and the other. And Mr. Suggett rang me up, Veg Grower Podcast, and he said, no unnecessary travel. And I said to him, can't mean people in cars, can it? It can't mean people in cars, because if you're in a car, you are isolated. I've self-isolated in a box on wheels. It must mean no unnecessary travel in buses and trains where you can be next to people and they can't get out because it's a moving vehicle. So it must, if you're in a car, you're perfectly all right. Let's have another swig of this. I can feel my throat tightening up and my nose getting a little bit more blocked. So I'm likely to finish off shortly. This is obviously going to be a shortish show. Veg Grower Podcast says, what if the battery runs out in mid-flight? No, it won't run out. It's solar panelled. It's got solar panels around the basket. You only go on a nice sunny day, so, you'll be fine. Michael Angel says, it's not the coffin, it's the coffin they carry you off in. Very good. Veg Grower Podcast, then you fail. That's true. The Great Plum that has arrived. He says, evening, what have I missed? Not very much. You missed me making some hot chocolate on my new immersion hub, which was very good. He says, I've been stopped a few times because I've been in a few Bald Explorer videos. Even got stopped in Cobham services. Yeah? It's very easy to mistake Mr. Great Plum for ye olde Bald Explorer. If he just puts on the right glasses, they might think he's me. Matthew and I, should point out, will be joining forces this week to make another video on our Green Sand Way. I'll be well enough by then, and we're going to get to... So just anybody who's on the Green Sand Way, I would make sure you stand at least 200 yards back this week. I'm not going to tell you exactly what day, because that's between him and me, but there's not many days left. And stand well back, because we will be charging along, making this amazing film. Andrew Norris says... it isn't the cough that carries you off in, but the coffin that carries you off in, to give you the whole quote, even. Yes. Hazel B says, good evening, peoples. Hello, Hazel. Nice of you to come along. Audrey says, 5 Boys Chalk had 5 faces of a boy on the wrapper with the words desperation, pacification, expectation, acclamation, and realisation. I bet they didn't sell very many of those, did they? Can you imagine them trying to sell that, get that, ram that down people's throats these days? Don't think it would work. But it's a nice idea. Mark Selwood says social distancing hasn't reached out our local chippy van by the local shopping arcade. There was at least 6 people vying for attention from the seller. Makes me incensed. Well, it's funny you should say that, because the panic buying that people are doing so that they can self-isolate and avoid people, they're in these incredibly long and frustrated queues where people are right on top of each other and pushing in and all of that. And in the process of the panic buying, they're actually inhaling all the COVID-19 germs by doing it. So they're trying to do all this so that they can self-isolate and not get the thing, but actually by doing it, they're going to get the thing. It does seem a bit mad. Hazel B says, hope you soon feel better, Richard. I had a cold for a few weeks. I've been working out in crap weather, so it was inevitable. What do you do in crap weather, Hazel B? Be interested to know, just because I'm nosy. Mr. Great Plum says, looking forward to it, Richard. Of course, this will be after I've dropped the kids off to school with a few hundred other parents. Let's hope that those kids continue to stay at school. My God, can you imagine what bedlam we would be in if the kids were not allowed to go to school, if they shut the schools? I mean, I know there's this thing called education. There is a thing called education. That's not what schools were ever designed for. No, schools were designed to make sure kids weren't under your feet for 8 hours of the day so that you could actually go and do something, have a life, and earn a living. The education bit, that was just the excuse to make sure that you didn't have kids under your feet all day long. Because let's face it, if we all had to educate our kids, what kind of world would be... Well, we might be in a better world, actually, because if you think back into the old days, you'd get your kids working by the age of 11. Very useful. Very useful. Ringer Ollie. Hello, Ringer Ollie. I missed you on yesterday's show. The lovely Julia said, Ringer Ollie, it was nice to see him. Lovely. We must do another video soon. Wait till I've got rid of COVID-19. When I've got COVID-20 or 21, that's a good time. So there we go. Hazel B says, I'm still going to my local pub tomorrow. Good for you. That sounds perfect. Mandy of Merrimack says, we just recorded our first COVID-19 case in our little town in the northwest corner of Michigan. Oh, that's lovely. Did you do a song and dance about it? Did you get the brass band out? COVID-19, COVID-19, we've got COVID, lovely little COVID, we've got COVID-19. How marvellous. I'm a postie, says Hazel B. Oh, how lovely. Lovely to be a postie. Do you wear... we've had lots of different posties, but when the last lady postie that we used to have used to wear shorts, not skimpy shorts or anything like that, just shorts in all weathers. And, you would go, blimey. But I don't know what it is. Some people just wear shorts, even in the cold. There was another chap, he was a postie, and he just wore shorts. And it could be, blowing a hooey, cold, ice cold. I don't know why I got onto that, really. Shorts. But no, brilliant. Well done. I bet you must be fit. I always think these posties, they're on their feet all day long, posting things. I've now got a little box outside my door so that posties don't have to struggle to put all the books that I order. Poor old Amazon. You've got to feel sorry for Amazon, haven't you? And the employees at the moment. Do have to feel sorry for them. They've all been told to work overtime. Well, the problem is, you see, people are now thinking that they're going to be self-isolating, some time off work. The government's got 600 and something billion pounds to throw at everybody. And they're all thinking, oh, yeah, I better get some orders in. So people are ordering new games for their Game Boy and whatever computer games, however, consoles, whatever the consoles are. I've been ordering loads of books. Not that I've got very many in the other room, but I've ordered some. So the poor old posties, they're heaving all this bloody stuff around. So I've made sure there's a nice little box that they can stick the things in and they don't have to try and get them through the door. And yes, if you've been a postie through that weather that we've had recently, probably wouldn't want to be wearing shorts. Judith says, I think they're trying to keep going until Easter holidays at least. Well, I think they should send them back, keep them at school during the holidays. That would be the best thing. Nobody wants them at home during the holidays eating chocolate and getting fat. Keep the kids at school. I think that would be, because so far the kids haven't had the benefit of the coronavirus, have they? And also, kids generally, they're pretty much immune to it. I think we should send them to school during the Easter holidays. I think that keep them at school. In fact, during the Easter holidays, they should take sleeping bags in and give the parents complete rest. Shorts only in the summer. I hate the cold. Yes, I'm with you there. I hate the cold. I'm still off school, says Francesco. To be honest, I feel like I'd rather be at school sometimes. Well, you're in Italy where it's, billions of people are dying. They're all falling, apart from bell ringers. It does seem that bell ringers have been told to self-isolate in bell towers. So you're going to be all right. You'll be all right up there. Every time somebody gets another case of COVID-19, you can be doing the old death toll, can't you? That'd be good fun. J.W. Harville, he says, it's turning into 1984 around here. Yeah, Big Brother and all these... Yes, it is. Robert Baxter says, Paul Hardcastle could do another song about COVID-19 instead of the Vietnam one. Which was the one that went, oh yes, was that the 19? Oh yes, COVID-19. There we go, we spoke about that before. Hazel says she's fit to drop, LOL. Don't drop, though. And Nigel Sadler says, we've got our CCF parade. Oh, Combined Cadet Force. What's it combined with? It's combined with Wurzels. That's nice. It's nice. Can you imagine the Combined Cadet Force combined with Wurzels? There's like that, isn't it? Right, come on then, you lot. We're going to be them scarecrows today then, with the little bit of that like that. Come on, that's it. Combined Wurzel. Sorry about that. We are not letting anyone come and watch it, so we have to broadcast it live on the internet to the parents instead. What is the point? What is the point? You're going to watch it on video. The parents are going to watch it. It's like watching, I don't know, like some bald bloke in his back room on the internet. What is the point? Amazon don't have a union. Being a postie, I don't know how long you've been a postie, Hazel, but since the internet, I mean, you're too young to even remember, I'm sure, a time before the internet, but in the old days, before the internet, when letters were being written, people weren't ordering quite so much, parcels and things because they could actually go down into the town and they could actually buy things because there were shops that sold things, not shops that were just charity shops or the same old chains that we've all seen, and, you know, whatever. But back in those days, post was probably was a bit more interesting. Now you've got all these boxes from Amazon to deliver. Your bags must be huge. They must be huge. What have we got here? Robert Baxter says, my brother-in-law is a postie and wears shorts. There we are. I did tell you, didn't I say? There's people who wear shorts all year round. Michael Angel says, my postie won't handle the parcel to you anymore. They ring the bell and leave it on the step. Do you know, when I was a kid, we used to do something similar. We would ring the bell and scarper. It was a great game. Never got caught. So that's good. Mike Dixon says 10 people in Italy die in a road traffic accidents every day, but that never gets any media coverage. Am I not right in thinking that quite a few people were crossing a bridge in Italy that collapsed? Have they rejigged that bridge? That was a frightening story, wasn't it? Hazel says Michael Angel shouldn't be doing that, not telling people to sign on the PDA. That's all. If you are self-isolating, we're told to leave it. How would you know? How are we doing? 8 minutes to go. I'm going to have another bit of chocolate. Tomorrow, on the Vobes show, I'm going to be a big fat lardy. But don't worry, the lovely Julia's coming in to keep me in check. Veg Grow Podcast says, I keep thinking of War of the Worlds. Nobody believed in the vast depths of space that minds, more immeasurably superior to ours, were closely examining things like a flea under a microscope. And slowly and surely they drew their plans against us. That was my Richard Burton impression without the Welsh accent. Thank you. It just really the close to the microphone. That was enough. And plus the fact I couldn't actually remember the exact quote. Nobody would believe that Richard Vobes was doing a show on a Tuesday night. Nobody would watch the show that he would do if he continued doing very poor Richard Burton. What is it I'm doing? A Richard Burton cut. Do you know the word has just gone straight out of my head? When you take somebody off, what do you call it? Impression. Thank you. Impression. I can't even do a Welsh accent, so what's the point? Angel Michael. See, I'm getting tired now. Angel, would you like to reboot? Yes, I would. Alexa, turn off the lounge light. Just like to throw that in there. Alexa, play Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds on Amazon Prime. On Kitchen Group. Isn't it the most annoying thing? You get this I haven't got one, but I know Julia's got one, and she'll say things like, Alexa, play Doopa Loopa's latest song. And it will just say all this nonsense. It's worse if you ask it to do any classical music. If you say to it, play Alexa, play Vivaldi's Four Seasons. It'll go, Vivaldi's Four Seasons. On Amazon, this, that, and the other. Conducted by so-and-so, with the so-and-so orchestra, in a room consisting of a violin, a conductor, a double bass, and a pianist, and such and such and such, recorded in 18... It gives you all this bloody detail. You just play the sodding thing! I don't want to die listening to every last damn credit. Just play the bloody thing. And then at least then when it's playing the bloody music, you can think, oh yes, my call is important. Your call is important to us. Oh, I remember the days hanging on. Good old Vivaldi. Got to be honest, RM keeps saying mail is dropping off. RM being Royal Mail, I assume. Not true. Packets are more So now, Richard, yes. Oh, right. Good. You got a job for life. Whatever happened? Whatever happened to Amazon's drone delivery? That never happened, did it? Do you remember that? I remember watching that on Tomorrow's World with Michael Rodd. All those years ago. They did the CD episode. Do you remember that? The CD-ROM? And they said music will be on a silver disc like this, and you can put jam on it. And it won't jam in the CD player. Oh, and there'll be a company called Amazon in the future, and it will deliver packages to you by drone. A drone is a little quadcopter that has little things that flap about. I remember that episode. Michael Rodd. Do you remember him? Screen Test. Something like that. Screen Test music. Great fun that was. Dean Cooper says, COVID for me as a delivery driver. We put the customer's name with CV in the front of it. Then we sign the box with CV. What does CV stand for? COVID, is it? Hazel B, is it me or is he just lazy? I'm very lazy. The original World of the Wards, World of the War, Raw. What did you put in this, Mr. Vobes? I put in something very dodgy. Oh, yes, something very dodgy. The original World of the War as recordings was superb. Nobody would believe that in the vast gulf of space, minds more immeasurably superior than ours were regarding this earth with envious eyes, and slowly and surely they drew their plans against us. Got the right kind of gravelly voice now to do that. If only I could make him in Welsh boil. I can't do Welsh. What's a how do you get into Welsh accent? Nobody would, but no, not like no. I can't. Hang on, a Welsh accent. Somebody do a Welsh accent so I can get into it. Boy, that's all I can think. Bioforb documentaries. Bioforb. Blimey, that sounds very good. Hello to you. He says, evening, Richard. Hello, Bioforb. You sound like you know what you're talking about when it comes to biochemistry and that sort of stuff. Maybe you do something completely different. Andrew Murphy. Hello, Andrew Murphy. Nice to see you. This is a bit of a... I've only got 2 minutes left of my show. Yeah, nice to see you anyway. Dean Cooper says CV equals coronavirus. Oh, right, okay. I thought coronavirus was all one word. Being pedantic there. Andy Dalgleish says, I never understood the appeal of chocolate until I bought some homemade stuff from the hippie shop in the old market in Brighton. Pure chocolate, cocoa butter, and agave syrup. Utterly amazing. Never tried that. Oh, J.W. Harville says the original was Orson Welles. I think you'll find that the original was H.G. Wells. And that the one in America, Mr. Harville, was Orson Welles' the Mercury Theatre Group, wasn't it? Was it something like that? The Mercury Theatre Group? Orson Welles wrote H.G. Wells, Herbert George wrote, or it was published in something like 1898. And he lived in, whilst I think of the name of the place, it begins with a W. Woking. He lived in, damn it, I could have had that. He lived in Woking when he wrote, because it's all about Horstal Common. And when the Mercury Group, they were doing it in America, in New York or somewhere. But Jeff Wayne's music, I think, was what's the word? A landmark, wasn't it? It was a landmark in music, a concept album, I think they call it. I mean, I'm not into music, but I can tell you, bum, 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 ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum, bum, bum. Brilliant. No one would believe. Just one of those, no one would... I love doing that. No one would believe. I'd no idea if that actually sounds even reasonably right, because I haven't got my headphones on. No one would believe the show was coming to an end. It is. I can't keep going on like this. Robert Baxter says, is Richard Burton the one who speaks in the background on Forever Autumn by Justin Hayward? Yes, I think he must be, because it was taken from the suite of Jeff Wayne's No One Would Believe. That minds immeasurably more superior than ours regarded this. The War of the Worlds. Nobody would ever believe No one would ever believe that something as small as a virus could affect the survival of mankind. Very good. Gentle breeze falls softly, gets me every time, says Mark Selwood as he farts out of the window. I've had 2 coughs and 1 sniffly nose. Better than yesterday. H.G. Wells also lived for a while in a house down the road from me for the setting. For the setting? Setting. Can't always read the small print on the thing. Don't tell me, Hazel, you used to deliver post to H.G. Wells. Surely you can't be that old. You used to send back the manuscripts going, this is for you, Mr. H. Herbert George. Hi, Herb. Did you, especially probably on first name terms with him, were you? Say, sorry, this looks like your manuscript returned back from Picador Publishing, or Penguin. Penguins don't want to do it. Well, penguins, you know, said Herbert George. They don't really read much science fiction, to be honest with you, penguins. I think Puffins, the Puffin book of H.G. Wells, it would be much more appropriate. I think they're much more into scientific and that sort of thing. David Keel says, I believe so, Justin Hayward sang. Yes, Mercury Theatre Group. People believe the broadcast was real and some committed suicide. Can you imagine that? That's so good, though, because they've missed out on COVID-19. They've missed out on a whole load of other things, of course. But those people who committed suicide a long time ago have missed out now on COVID-19. And on that note, no, she says, I'm not that old, ha ha. No, I mean, we're talking about 1898. So that would make you older than me. I have made this hot chocolate last over an hour. Well, just under, because I didn't cook it immediately. It's stone cold. But it's very nice. Peter May says, no, I've missed the show. It rhymes, but it's true. I'm going to go now. Peter says, sorry I was late. It's all right. This was an impromptu show. Nobody knew I was doing it. And according to this binary calculating machine, 49 people were watching. Mark Selwood says, most of the people watching this show have nowhere else to go. Well, this is it. I thought captured audience. Take advantage. Nikki Jess says, hi. She'll be saying goodnight to everybody in a minute. So that's all good. Hi, Nikki. Is my tea ready? There we go. They're in the same bloody room. They're in the same room. Why are you talking on YouTube to each other? You're in the same room. It's madness. Baggy trousers. Right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Thank you so much for coming along and joining me tonight. I was bored. I needed something to do. I thought I'd do an extra show. Tomorrow night, the lovely Julia and I will be sitting in this very same studio, concocting some other madness and what have you, talking basically to you, the lovely audience, and thank you for your time. Do appreciate it. Keep yourself safe, and we will try and distract you from the nonsense, which is even more bizarre, out there in the real world. How can it be that my show is more sane than the world outside of your door? That's not the way it works. This show is supposed to be the insane world, and the real world is supposed to be normal. But somebody has flipped the coin, and I don't know why. Anyway, it has been fun to enjoy your company. Thank you so much for coming along. It's been great. And talk to you tomorrow. Take care, one and all. Look after yourselves, and thank you so much. Check out tomorrow's Bald Explorer. It's a slightly different sort of video. I wasn't very well at the time, so we just did a very laid-back video tomorrow. Anyway, that's it. Thank you so much. Look after yourself. There's only so many times you can say that, isn't there? So I'm going to say arrivederci, ta-ta for now, bye-bye. 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 Well, go on then. Don't sit here carrying on looking at me as if I'm going to do more. I've got a sore throat. I've got a wife and 2 eyelids to support. Well, I haven't got the wife, but I've got the 2 eyelids to support. Yeah. Till next time, bye for now.